Well, the chi li dujina dujin shake pe ril por zin par ga sun pa de zin par ma che pe dujin shake pe sun de na ril por zin pa je gyo. So Buddha said that if somebody identifies with the world system, then he or she would be identified with these solid things. So Buddha didn't mean that there is a world system that disintegrates. Therefore, Buddha said there is a solid thing. Identification with the solid thing. Chonen de ki ka tselpa rabjol ripozinpa ni ni tanye de. So it's a traditional, conventional way of like conventional truth and ultimate truth, conventional way of seeing things as real. So che deni jedu mepa yina de yang jipasosuki o namki zumo. Again, the childish ordinary beings will think that mountain exists. How come there's no grasping for solid thing or things like that? Rabjor ganala ji dikedu dejin shekpe daktu tawar sum. Somebody might even say that Buddha has taught us how to cling on to self. Dejin shekpe semchendu tawadang soktu tawadang kanzaktu tawar sum. So je zerna. If somebody claims that Buddha has taught us how to get identified with the soul, living beings, and person, Rabjur, the young dapper mrawa inam, do you think they would speak it rightly? Rabjur giselpa, chonen de ni malasu. Subhuti said, no, Bhagwan, it's not like that. The worship of the Nimala Sugata, it's not like that. The chi religion, why is that? Chonen de Dejin shake pe daktu tawar sumpa dini tawar machi par dejin shake pe sumpe ledute. Buddha simply meant when Buddha spoke about the self, clinging on to self, it's something that does not exist. So deta dena, therefore daktu tawa shegyo, that's called viewing as a self. Chonen de ki katsepa rabjor Dila, Chanchusempa Tepala, Yanda Pajupedi, Tarache Tamjasepar Jao, know well those of you who have entered into the Bodhisattva vehicle purely, this kind of phenomena. And Tower Jao, excuse me, see it well, Mepar Jao, strive it, aspire to do that. Chine, Chesu, Dushepala, Mi Nepar Separ Jao, to whatsoever it is, there should be no perception. So, know well this as well. The chi cherjana, why is that so? Rabjor, chesu dushi je javani, the perception to the phenomena explained by the Buddha is the dushi mepa dijinshek pe sumpe cherte. That's what Tathagata said as non-perception. Dena chesu dushi je jao. Therefore, it is called perception towards Dharma. Yang Rabjor Jamsu Sempa Sepa Chempo Gangi Jitengi Kam Paktu Me Ching Dang Me Pad Da Rinpoche Na Dingi Raptu Gangwa Jete Jinpa We Rikibu Mogangi Sherapki Paruto Chinpa Dile Tana Tsik Jipe Tsiksu Chepa Tsam Dine Zintam Changam Logam Kinchupa Jedam Jenda la jacheri yanda par rapute na de ni jide le senam che mandu dame pa paktu me pa kedo. Again, Buddha is summing up, saying that even if those bodhisattvas who have entered into bodhisattva vehicle gives a gift of comprising of 7 jewels to others, now instead of that, the merit that will be begotten by those sons and daughters of notable family who accepts this sutra, writes it, reads it, memorizes it, try to comprehend it to its totality, then teach it to others in a purest way without any manipulation. Those sons and daughters of noble family will beget the incalculable heap of merits. Jiktar yang dakpa raptu ten chain na. So how to teach properly? Jiktar yang dakpa raptu miten padi. How to not teach properly? The jindu yang dakpa raptu ten padi. So that's how one should teach it well. Dena yang dakpa raptu ten padi. Therefore, it is called. There's neither teaching well purely or impure teaching. Therefore, it is called pure teaching. So now Buddha concludes with the greatest pith instruction. So most of us, we are awaiting from a spiritual leader or from a spiritual teacher or guide. It has become so famous, especially in the Tibetan Buddhism, that we should receive a pith instruction or quintessential instructions from our teacher, root guru, or so on and so forth. It has become very rampant. Now this pith instruction is here actually. Like what Buddha says, now how to view all these compounded phenomena, because all including our body, these 5 skandhas, and the outside world are just combination of things, compounded things. Now how these compounded phenomena should be viewed. Now Buddha gives 9 kinds of examples. Karma, rabrip, marmeda, jumazilpa, chuburda, milamloka, tintabu, dujetamchin, ditarta. So how these compounded things should be viewed? So see in this way, dijetamchin, ditarta. How? Karma. Why karma? Star. Why star? Because star exists only in darkness. When there's light, we don't see star. Darkness represents our ignorance. So only in ignorance we see stars. So we see phenomena only when we are ignorant. So we have to fight with ignorance, so that those compounded things we can see whether it has inherent existence or not. So then rabrip, spiritual aberrations. Suppose we have a liver disease. We see many shapes and shapes. Not that those patterns and shapes exist, but we are struck with disease. That's why Buddha has, in one instance, claimed himself as a physician and not philosopher, a doctor who cures poisons. So, for example, we have poisons, 5 poisons. There's an anecdote from, again, Old Path White Clouds. Somebody was shot with a poison-tipped arrow accidentally. Then doctors came, relatives and friends came to rescue him. He didn't allow them to treat him, remove the arrow, because he said, who shot this? What kind of poison is made out of it? So and so. Then the poison slowly crept into his heart and he expired. Likewise, Buddha said, always first fight with the poison. You know that you are stuck with the poison. I'm a doctor. Don't ask me whether there's a life after death, who created this whole universe, or is there reincarnation, things like, not that it cannot be answered, but just wastage of time. We have on an average 60 to 70 to 80 lifespan, which is not enough to explore and cure these poisons. So Buddha said, do not ask all those irrelevant questions, not that it cannot be answered. First you try to treat the poison, then once that poison is treated, then you will know who shot that arrow, what kind of poison was made of what ingredients, who shot, whether somebody begrudged and shot that person, something like that. In that story of Thikatan will be known later once you are cured. But otherwise we'll finish up with this short life without getting the answer or curing our poisons. That's why this rubric, spiritual, visual aberration, is just an effect. But what is the cause? That we have to see, the disease. Karma rubric, marmedam, marme. Marmes exists so long as fuel exists. Then fuel is tanha, desire. So we have to fight with, not fight with, we have to understand the desire, its roots, texture, color, everything from where it arises. Then this, the desire, so long as desire lives, so long as that fuel lasts, lamp lasts. Juma is mirage. So on a sunny day, in a straight road when we drive, or even in a plain, deer and many animals in a desert, when they're thirsty, they see oasis, which is just a mirage, and they keep on following the things which does not exist, let alone quenching their thirst by following that oasis, that image which is just a mirage illusion. They drop dead. Likewise. So that's why a mirage. Sorry. Then zilpa, a dewdrop, which is just temporary. It exists a little stir and it vanishes. So likewise our mind or any compounded things is also like disintegration, impermanence, how it lasts, but how we cling on to it. So if you view that as a very temporary and transient. Chubur, the bubbles, big bubbles, small bubbles, colorful bubbles, all sorts of things, but hardly last for any. So likewise, the mental stream or the compounded things are also like that. Then milam, in a dream, we see so many things as if it's a real, but once we are awakened, it does not exist anymore. So all these compounded phenomena exist, mountain exists, everything exists as a real, but once we are awakened, all these things will be irrelevant to us, does not exist anymore. So lockdown, lightning, milam lockdown, tintabru, lightning, just flash, lights up, goes out. So likewise, very temporary phenomena. It exists, but no inherent source. Again, of course, we may say scientifically clashing of light charges and all, but again, it's just temporary, out of nowhere. So likewise, all the compounded things they come out because of combination of certain things, but there's no inherent existence. Then tintarbu, clouds, it comes and goes, shapes, this, that, whatsoever it is, and also cloud represents another delusion, clouding of our thoughts, discursive thoughts. So, and also which clouds further through these compounded things, that this exists, that exists. So, but there are a little bit of differentiation between illusion and delusion. Delusion is something associated with mind, illusion is something visual. So, all compounded phenomena should be viewed as that, all mind actually. So, that's how Buddha is instructed. So, these are the pith instruction. Pith instruction means we go to another spiritual, so-called spiritual person or guru or teacher or all this famous person, holy person, big spiritual giant, meaning more followers, number means power. So even if that person is a spiritual charlatan, we go on thinking that he will give us instruction, liberate us. Of course, teachers are teachers, there's value, certain value in it, but most of the time we get exploited. And why we get exploited? Because this kind of big instructions we throw away, because very difficult to understand, we have to put lots of efforts. Then we rely on, as a shortcut, that somebody will do on our behalf. That spiritual teacher, my guru, will give me peace instruction. He will teach me all those things. So because of that, it's like a smuggling. Instead of running a normal professional business, which will take you 20 years to become well off. But if you do some smuggling, conduct unprofessional business overnight or within thing, so as much as there's a risk involved in shortcut businesses, there is risk involved in relying on another person. According to my experience, there are lots of people possessed with invisible beings. They pretend to have clairvoyance, they pretend to know, and playing with the esoteric jargons, all those words, and mesmerizing people, rituals, all those kind of nonsense that's going on in the realm of spiritual world. One has to be very careful, and to be careful, one has to rely on Buddha's teaching. There are 84,000 verses, there are many Vajrayana texts, many other things. When we are not able to read those, comprehend those, which are quintessentially all pith instruction perhaps, I don't know what kind of pit instruction we are awaiting and we are seeking from another human being, which maybe, because of course there could be some teachers who have realized and who can actually guide you, but there are lots of dangers involved in that. It may be his sole opinion, very mesmerizing, that you may fall prey to it, but this kind of text, varieties of other texts are the complete package, the references, whereby you cannot go astray. It's not somebody's opinion. So I, for one, I would suggest or share my opinion that we should always follow text, this kind of pit instruction, how to use, for example, see compounding things based on those 9 kinds of examples. It's a pit instruction where we can meditate upon, reflect upon, and see things to ourselves. That's called self-realization. Otherwise, relying on others' realization, which may be a sheer opinion and falling prey, all those things, it's a very dangerous, because we cannot play with this precious gift. All of us know that how difficult it is to acquire this human body and this life. So wasting, believing nonsense, dogmas, religion, this sect, that sect, all those things, actually it's a great pity. Well, this is just my realization. Now the senior monk, that Bhumi being Subhuti, then Gelungdang, Dedakdang, all those monks, Jansu Sempa, Dedakdang, all those bodhisattvas, Khurjipo, the 4 categories of Sangha. One is Gelungdang, Gelungma, nuns, monks, then Genyenma, ordinary lay practitioner, then Genyendang, Genyenmadang, Hladang, Midang, human beings, gods, Slamaina, demigods, Dizar, Gandharvas, those celestial dancers, Chepi, Jiteniranti, all this, even the whole earth was throbbed in with excitement upon hearing the words of these rare words of Buddhas. So Chomnindiki Sumpa Lagnan Patedo, so they have praised the words of these Buddhas. So Papashiraki Parilto Chimpa Dojichepa Jejawa Tekpa Chepe Do Zokso. Now this Arya Vajrachetika Pragya Paramitas Mahayana Sutra explanation of this sutra, not explanation, perhaps the sutra itself is completed. That's what it says. Now there's a big mantra, very big mantra. I don't mean size, but instead of reading this entire text 90,000 times, it's equivalent if we read this mantra, recite this mantra. So this mantra goes like that. Om Namo Bhagavate Pragya Paramitaye Swaha Om Nate Titta Ilishi Ilishi Milishi Milishi Binayan Binayan Namo Bhagavate Pretayan Prati Iriti Iriti Miriti Miriti Shuriti Shuriti Ushiri Ushiri Buye Buye Swaha Deyatha Om Shri Shruti Miriti Bizaye Swaha Pragya Paramitaye Sarva Durgate Shodaya Rajaya Swaha Ningpo di Lenchi Jena Dojichepa Chi Guptong Lokpada Nyamparjuro. Chi Guptong is not even 90,000, perhaps 10,000 times 9,000. So it's all 9 lakhs times equivalent. Geo Lexo. So this sutra was written in honor of my late father's deceased mother many years ago, almost 70 years now, more than 70 years old. So with this mantra, actually maybe I should bring it closer if somebody is interested to read. So this is how we have to read this. Om Namo Bhagavate Pragya Paramitaye Swaha, not Traja and all that nonsense people pronounce, to be frank. Pragya Paramitaye Swaha, Om Natetitta, Ilishi, something is missing, so I added Milishi, Binayan, Swaha, Binayan, Namo Bhagavate. This is Pritayan Prati. Iriti, Miriti, Shuriti, Ushiri, Buye, Swaha, Teyatha, Om Shri Shruti, Mriti, Bizaye, Swaha, Pragya Paramitaye, Sarva Durgati, Shodaya, Radaya, Swaha. So, Ningpudi Lenchi Jepana, Dojichepa, Ti Guptung Lokparda, Nyampara Jur. Gyo Jai Lexo. So may Buddha bless all those readers. This is just first part of my study. I'll further make references, study further, and again try to shed more light on it. Best of luck, guys.